Nas vs. Jay-Z, the recap. The competitive nature that made hip-hop what it is was brought back into the forefront. And all of the participants battling were really bringing it. We've had Jay-Z vs. Mobb Deep, Cormega vs. Nas, Jadakiss vs. Jay-Z, D-Block vs. Rockefeller, Snoop Dogg vs. Suge Knight, and most importantly, Jay-Z vs. Nas. It wasn't until Prodigy from Mobb Deep who felt that Jay disrespected the East Coast on money, cash. Hoes when Jay said, "New York has been soft ever since Snoop came through and crushed the buildings," is where he figured he took manners in his own hands. Prodigy began taking subliminal shots at Jay on his HNIC album. It wasn't until the track Mob Niggas that Prodigy planted the seeds of war, where he stated, "We ain't the rock / we ain't them faggot-ass niggas." Jay ignored the jab sent but insisted on waiting until Summer Jam to strike an attack on Prodigy and humiliate him. Already trying to fight off rumors of being robbed in his own projects. Prodigy was having a hard time maintaining his tough guy image, and Jay found the opening that he needed to exploit Prodigy's lack of gangster. Jay taunted P's height, "I got money stacks bigger than you." Claimed that he was a fraud, then you dropped shook ones, switched your demeanor, and to pour further salt in the wound, he further destroyed him with the infamous line, "When I was pushing weight back in '88 / you were a ballerina, I got the picture, I seen ya." And showed a younger Prodigy in a ballet outfit, then to further throw more fuel into the fire. Jay then threw a shot at Nas, basically labeling him as a coward. Ask Nas, he don't want it with HOV no. The pressure was definitely on Nas to respond. He've already said in the July 2001 issue of The Source magazine, with Suge Knight on the cover, that he didn't want any problems with Jay or Rockefeller and that he wanted to fall back and make music. It was a battle that he didn't want to take, but with his career and credibility at stake, he had no other option, or otherwise he would be looked at as a coward. People including myself underestimated Nas's battling skills, and he really showcased himself as a contender on the Stillmatic freestyle. He came out swinging for the fences like Derek Jeter. Nas been quiet to beef for years publicly and took shots from everybody from The Rock, Cormega, Nature, and many of his Queensbridge friends that looked to him as a snake or a disloyal guy. Nas showed his venomous nature as he took the disrespect to the next level by calling Jay a homosexual rapper version of Cisco, and even took a shot at former best friend Cormega by labeling him Corn Mega after Mega was disrespecting him on the realness. Nas wasn't about to go down without a fight, knowing the ball was on Jay's court, and say what you want about him, he's a marketing genius. Not only did he release his Blueprint album on a date where it was memorable 09 to 11, but he also put out a classic album which took Jay's career to the next level. And in the process re-recording The Takeover, which featured a whole disc dedicated to Nas. Even though Prodigy was already cooked from Summer Jam, Jay really aimed for Nas's chest on this one. He took the blows to the next level by mocking his failed clothing line Willie Esco jeans. How Nas fell off from the radar as a top MC, went from Nasty Nas to Esco trash, claimed that he dropped a hot album every 10 years, and even took things on a more personal level by claiming that he had an affair with Nas's baby mother Carmen. Everybody around that time period thought Nas was done. The Blueprint went on to become the #1 selling album in the country, thus having the streets, radio, MTV, BET, and clubs on lock. Jay-Z's ego was also becoming bigger, as he would go as far as to rename himself Jehovah, HOV, and built the brand for himself as the MC that never takes losses, with the slogan, "I will not lose." The Blueprint at the time was a major smash, and many, including myself, thought Nas's career was history. Things were on top of the world and they showed it. Things were looking right for Rockefeller. Jay was looking more godlike every progressing day to the average hip-hop fan, so Nas stayed in the lab like a scientist working on his invention. It wasn't until Nas finally released his album that his response. And he dropped diss track titled Ether, which was a total Hiroshima bomb on the whole Rockefeller staff. Nas went on a verbal tear into Jay's street cred, accuses him of selling his soul for riches, copying Biggie, being outshined by Eminem on his own song, brown-nosing other artists for fame, his looks, and how he was an obsessed fan of his style. And just like that, this resurged Nas's staggering career. And really put the pressure on Jay-Z to come with something heavy, or else it was done. Nas smacked the Coney crown off Jay's head and put it on for size. He responded with the record titled Super Ugly, where he takes the disrespect to the point where it's just being ruthless. Jay using Nas's own beat on some Jackin' for Beats tip clowns Nas for his chipped tooth, his pink suit and street dreams, his false drug dealer image, nigga never sold aspirin, how he Escobar. And spits the vivid details about sleeping with his baby mother, skeeted in your Jeep, left condoms in the baby seat. The response, while disrespectful, didn't suit too well with many and wasn't as impactful as Nas's ether, so Nas ended up getting the win, and that was the end of the battle. The two eventually buried the hatchet years later. Whenever you a Nas or Jay fan, this was a magical time for hip hop.